friends, welcome back to Arc Tutorials. This is Angular 19 complete CRUD project. We are building an expense tracker. I have demoed it in the part 0 where we did the demo of what we are going to build. This is part 3 of the application. Before we kickstart, don't forget to get the full stack interview series book that I have launched, which will help you crack any interviews that you attend. Thank you so much for always supporting me. As part of this project, we are building using Angular 19 features, which is what will help you learn and master Angular 19 and the new features. I'm covering signals, I'm covering the @defer, routing, breakpoint observer, JSON server, standalone components, and everything that you need to master. So this is where we are at right now. We are on episode number 4, but actually part 3 because this is where we are building code. The first part is the demo. Make sure you see it. Installation and setup, signals and services. That's very important because that's where I've created some signals as part of teaching you Angular 19 signals. Today we are setting up the routes and components for our application. Without wasting time, let's jump right into it. All right, so we have the project that we created. We have the setup. We created a service, expense service. We use signal. I taught you how to use signal in this with services. We have set up our local JSON server and we created a model. That's where we are at right now. So today what we are going to do is configure the routes and generate some standalone components. That being said, let's get started. Alright, so first things first, what I'll do is let me fire up the JSON server locally. That way, that way we have the local host 3000 running. So I'll open my Revealian integrated terminal and we have already installed and set it up. So we'll type json -server followed by --watch, and you have to specify where is the db.json. So it's one level up. Let's check. We are in the expense tracker and inside source. Okay, so json server -watch, that's the command, and then source db.json, and we'll mention the port number where we want it to run, which is 3000. So our endpoint is up and running. I'll open one more terminal where we'll run the Angular. So two terminals, one is for JSON server, one is where we'll generate the components. Alright, so routing, what we'll do, if you see this is Angular 19 project, you don't have any app routing module. Instead you'll have app routes. That's the only thing we'll have. So first let me go ahead and generate a component, and we are going to call it expense list. That's where we will have the list that we will generate. So you can see here it generated a component expense list. Same way I'll type ng generate c, stands for ng generate component, and I'm going to say expense add edit. That will be used for the same form. We will use it for adding and editing that we have generated. I'm going to generate one more component to show you a different variation, which I promised you will use a list group as well. So grid. So I generated 3 components. One is used for listing, one is used for table, mat table with pagination, next, filtering, sorting. One component add edit will be used for CRUD operations of editing and adding. Now I'll go to my app routes and I'll configure my routing. So we will start by importing here in app routes. I'm going to add, and I'll say add expense, which will point to component expense add edit component. I'll add one more. I'll say path. I'll say grid, which is what will show the table, or you can also call it dashboard, and expense grid component. And I'll add one more path, and we will say um, let's say list, and we will use the expense list component. Alright, now this is where we are configuring the routes. We will do lot many things like adding, say if you want to add 404 route, which is if no component is no route is found, with what message should be displayed. For wildcard also we can add, and those are the different variations we can keep on adding. But for now, let's start with these three simple things. Save it and do a ng serve to start the application. The application, let it build. It is ready. Now we'll go to localhost 4200. We see this. Now let's go to add expense, and here you should see a message which says expense add edit works. Same way I'm going to say dashboard, and here you can see the message which says expense grid works, and last, which is the list. So type it and you should see the message expense list works. So all the three routes are working as expected. Go to app component.html, and except for the last line, which is 336, I'm going to delete everything else. I've deleted everything from app component.html. There is only router outlet. Now you'll see the messages clearly. Now when you say add expense, the message comes. When you say dashboard, the grid message comes. So that's the most basic thing. So what we will do is, now let's build the template and the sidebar that we will our application to look beautiful with some navigations around. Alright, so for that I'm going to use Angular material. This is how you learn Angular material as well. So let's go to app component.ts. In the imports, I'm going to import mat sidebar. What is that again? It's called mat side. Okay, we did not install Angular material, so that's a step we need to do. That's why we are not seeing. Let's close it here. Clear ng add @angular slash material. I'm not really sure if we already did it, but let me go ahead and do it again just in case. So it's done, it's updated. Now I'm going to import mat sidebar. Okay, that's it's not coming up, so let's see why. I'm going to type it and see if that helps. So it's called mat side nav module from @angular slash material slash side nav. Alright, and that should be the imported module that we need. That's mat side nav module. Let's include it. Okay, and just so that we are typing it correct, let's select it from the import list. Okay, same way let's import other modules also that we will need along with this particular thing. So which is mat toolbar 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 module. Okay, we will also need side nav we got. Okay, and I think let's start with these two and we'll add as we progress. Just the two. Go to app component. We will use what we just imported. Okay, and for that the tag is mat side nav hyphen container. Now you have the side nav container. Let's give it a class so that we can style it easily. Sidebar container. Now we have the sidebar container. Inside this we have mat side nav as an uh, template that we can use, and we are going to say sidebar, or just stick to the same naming, mat side nav. And I closed it wrong. Alright, so this is where mat side nav will come into picture. And we are going to give a mode and say where it should be positioned, right? So I'm going to say I want it on the side, and that should be all, but we can also add a class and say side nav. Alright, now inside this let's add and say side nav bar. Okay, the next thing we need is mat side nav will have a section called content. Okay, one will be mat side nav, which is nothing but the sidebar, and this would be the main content where we will display it. Now here we can add our own toolbar, whatever we want to add, a message or a heading or any of those sorts. So I'm going to move my router outlet inside the side nav, and let's run this application to see what errors we will run into. Alright, so it says mat side. Okay, I typed it not wrong. It is nav and not bav. Okay, let's see now if it shows any errors. It is still showing error. It says it's already closed. Mat side nav, we did not close it, so let's close that mat side nav. And now it says unexpected closing tag. Okay, unexpected closing tag, so I'm going to add some value. This is mat side nav and we have the content. This should be good. Let's see. Unexpected closing tag mat side bav. Where is that? I think, oh, here. And I'm going to move this router outlet inside the side nav content. Now this should be good. And now the bundle is good. So all we have done is used a mat side nav container. It will have two things. One is the side nav and one is the side nav content. So it's not showing anything. Most likely some error. Let's check. You will run. Okay, so no errors there, which is good. Okay, so here we see expense grid works and it is in a sidebar, but our sidebar is not visible. And let's see what is happening and why is it not. So it also needs equal to true. So now you see we get the sidebar and the main content. Okay, it doesn't look that great, so let's make it look beautiful first. And I'm going to use a mat nav list. What it does is just basically a list. So mat list item. And how do I know all these tags is because I have been using it for a while, many years now. So if you are following me on my channel here, you will know how much time and effort I have spent in building these. So that should give you a good idea. So I've added one single nav list item for now, and it is throwing error because obviously we did not import that. So let's go ahead and import what is required. The library that is required now is the list module. That's what will give us the list. So we'll type mat list module and let's import it into the imports. This is a standalone. Everything is standalone. So now we see we get a link which is mat list item, and now let's go ahead and add couple of more and get this layout done. So we'll say mat list item, and here I'm going to say add an expense, and here I'm going to say expense list, and last option will say contact. So right now if you see it is showing it here and it's broken. So let's go to our styles.css, and this is where we'll have to make our change in order to get that 100%. Okay, the reason is by default it's not taking 100%. So what we will do is to this we will add the our class basically, that is the mat side nav container, and make it 100%. So now it is 100%, that error is gone. Alright, so this looks little odd because it's too big, right? It doesn't look nice. So what I'm going to do is style a little bit and kind of make it into a beautiful looking sidebar basically. So what we'll do, we'll give a class to this, uh, let's say side nav, right? We have given side nav, and in the app component.css I'm going to say width should be 250 pixel, background color, you can give any background color, and the color usually I'll follow is little dark, and then use a lighter shade to make it much more readable. So now we have the sidebar which is coming grayish color, and we can also add some class to make sure that the links are correct and looking better in a sense. um, the list item itself, we can make it white color. Okay, so what we are going to do is copy that class and make it to white. So here let's copy the class name. So we have the mat list here, and this is the mat list item. Copy that class name, and then I'm going to go inside here and say mat list item and say color is white. Okay, it's still not reflecting. Let's do a quick check on it. So it's because there is a span inside it, inside the content. So let's get this value of primary text, mdc primary text, and say that inside this, wherever you have the list white color, apply it. It is still not applying because of the layout that's not correct. So what I'm going to do is target the parent one here and mat drawer, right? That's the main inner one. So we can use this container, or we can, this is all a mat list here, so I can use this and say use the mat nav list, and inside, or we can use this mat drawer container, the parent one, and we are saying inside this, wherever you have the primary text, make it white, and I'm going to push it important as well. Not still not reflecting, no worries, we'll check on it. Uh, we'll see what is happening with it. Okay, CSS will fix it, guys, don't worry on that. It's small things. MDA list item. Okay, it's an app component, so I'm going to take it out here and put it in styles.css so that it reflects on. So now you see it's white color. All right, last thing that we'll do is, this looks a little odd with the new radius thing, right? So we can get that also and remove the radius, so that way it doesn't look little odd. So I'll go back to my app component in the sidebar and say border radius 0 pixel important. Now we should not have any such curve. Looks good so far, and our layout is ready. Okay, but just to leave you with one more thing, instead of this, what I can also do is I can add a toolbar that would look better on the content rather than just showing the content directly. So this is how you build a layout in Angular using Angular material. So I can use a mat toolbar, and this will generate the toolbar for us. Now inside this, I can add a button, which we will use it for like toggling um, of the sidebar. So here I'm going to use and say primary, and this button I'll say X. That means when you close it, when you click on it, we get the toolbar. Now when I click on it, it will collapse and open, right? All right, instead what I can do, I can use mat icon, and I can say that it's a mat icon button that I want, so that way I don't have to type this, and we will use a mat icon inside this, and we are going to use an icon called menu. Okay, this will give error because we have to now import the icon, mat icon module, and once you import it, add it to the list of imports. One more thing we need to import, which is mat toolbar module. Oh, it's already imported, so that we are good on that. All right, now let's go back. So now we see a nice little one that comes up, and why don't we add a nice beautiful message to it, right? That what is this about? So welcome to Arc Tutorials Angular 19 project. So now we have our message that comes up and looks good. All right. So we will do little bit of styling if you would like. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time in styling because I know that you guys can do this part. So but what we will definitely do is I want to show you the main features. So dot main content, that's where the main content is right now, and what we are going to do is just style a little bit that way to make it look better. Okay, all right. So here what we'll do, just put some background color for now and use a lighter shade of gray. So now it's little gray, this is white, you can see the difference, looks good. um, we can do some padding, that way there is some space around here. You see that gas space that I added. And yeah, that's pretty much I think we'll do today. um, or if you want, I can just make one more change for you, which is on click of that we'll collapse the sidebar. Okay, let's do that also, and then we'll go to the next section. It is little pressure to code live, but that's all right, that's part of the job, right? So sidebar toggle is what I'm going to call it, and this will give error because we have not defined it. Let's go to our component.ts file and let's define that. And now what we'll do for this is simple, we will just toggle it. And toggle is nothing but just keep it boolean, okay, whether it is opening or not on close, that's all we will do. Okay, so we'll use a default built-in function too if we would like. Let's see if that works. Side nav dot toggle, that's defined already in the sidebar, so should work. Yeah, so see, now we don't need any custom function for it, it's already defined, it's working as expected. We have the sidebar with the list, we have the space, let's give some space and say app title, and in component.ts we'll write app title and we'll say padding or say margin from left side should be 30 pixel. So too much space, so let's make it 20. This looks good. Now we have the button and it's working as expected. If you like, you can use this toolbar to style it. So you have the matte toolbar, you can give a class here, take that class matte toolbar, and you can add that also, optional but for your choice. um, so again, that's I leave the styling part to you, I'll not waste time. So today what have we done is we have configured our routes and generated the components, configured the routes. Let's give the same routes here in our sidebar that we have. Add an expense, we'll call it add expense, and then for the expense list I'm going to call it list, and we'll generate one more and call it dashboard. And now when I click on add expense, it's not going anywhere. Okay, let's see why. Because I don't think we have imported the router module here. Yeah, router outlet is there but not the router module, so let's bring that also into picture and then our code is complete. So here let's import router module and kick it inside the imports array. A lot of you have told me that yes, it takes, now you can see add expense, expense list and dashboard, all the routing is working, sidebar is ready, title is ready, main content area is ready, and we can start developing our functionality. I hope you're liking it. It's live coding, so little pressure on me, but please do hit that like button if you're enjoying this tutorial and want me to build more. Thank you. So in the next part, we'll start writing code for the grid, for the list, expense, add, edit, and much more. So stay tuned. I'll be recording them more. Thank you.